Hey everybody, welcome to Settled on the Field. It's a bird-eyes view of the sports landscape from the little leagues to travel sports, high school athletics, recruiting, NIL, and walk-ons. Join us on a rocket ship to the next level. Thank you for joining us today. Jebber, how are you doing?
Beautiful, beautiful entry. How's everybody, Liz?
Doing wonderful. I'm excited to be here, as usual.
LIZ had a strong weekend.
I had a very sports oriented weekend. Very sports oriented. How about you guys?
I heard you ran the 40 in under 7 seconds.
Thank goodness, because
Straight dipping.
I uh, I, um, I ran it on the track and I was just under 9, so I was happy because this is pretty official. They had a pretty official guy with the timer, and I didn't
So,
fall,
so you're at the
and I didn't hurt
NFL
myself.
Combine in Indianapolis this weekend, and they had a little
Yes,
fan fest. Is that what it was?
Yeah,
it was a
we went down
cool.
there. You had to wait in line. Probably, it just could be the time we got there, but it's about 40-yard line this way, 40-yard line this way. So about maybe, I don't know, what'd you say, 75, 100 people? But they
Yeah,
were just
quite a
churning
few.
them out. Like somebody would run. Sometimes it was two people racing, but there was only one time. Get to the end, there's a big pad there. We had our group there. It was pretty nice.
It's pretty cool to run with like the Colts Stadium in your background, and then you know your time. And I felt, like I said, my goal was to get under 7, and I did it.
Liz did awesome, dude. She got a 6.8. She was dipping.
Nice.
I got official times here if you want to hear them.
Yes,
Let's.
please.
All right. Well, I let us off, and it was kind of funny. I don't know if we're going to see a video at some point, but 5.78 out of the gates.
Nice.
Um,
Pretty good. I was feeling, but let's say, just in case you all would like to run the 40 and share your time with us, we will be having an upcoming um, pros versus schmoes, and we want to see your time. We might be the schmoes. We don't know. We might be the pros.
I was definitely a schmo on this day, but yeah, the schmoes versus pros. We're gonna partake in some physical activities, especially some Olympic events, and then see how the pros do versus. But the other times we had with the 6.15, my son Lou with a 6.65. Leo, his younger brother, beat him on this one with the 6.5.
Little brother.
Yeah, and then Ian with our record time of a 5.13, um, burning up the turf. It was very fun. They also did vertical jump and some obstacle course like that. I mean, it was a fun event
It's a fun
for
thing if you're
sure.
in Indianapolis to go to. We've gone pretty much every year, and I was like, okay, I got to start writing down your time so I can compare you next year.
And after that we're outside. It's kind of chilly. So we're in ill prepared t-shirts and whatnot, but we go inside. See, there they are, the pros, almost pros, college kids down there running 40s.
You can just watch. You're just right there in the stands cheering them on. And
Happened to be DB day, so there was some fast times.
yeah, wide receivers, quarterbacks, all the fast guys were there. And we did witness history. And I'm excited for Xavier Worthy, who ran what they thought was a 4.22, which tied history. And the crowd went crazy. They were losing it. It was awesome. And then, after about 5 minutes goes by, they come back and they're like, in fact, his official time was a 4.21. He broke the record, and I think that record's probably going to stand quite some time. He broke, was it John Ross's record, and he had held that since 2017. So I think Xavier's going to hold this one down a little longer than that.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. I did see a story about Bo Jackson running the 40 way back in the day that was allegedly sub 4.21, but it wasn't official. It wasn't at the NFL Combine. So we'll just have to let Bo tell his stories. My man.
Well, if he wasn't at the combine, I don't know. But I believe him. Probably is true. But so we had a big weekend in Indiana, just in general. Boys sectionals were settled on the court this weekend. There was some amazing games out there.
Unbelievable
And
finishes.
I think if you guys follow us on Instagram and Twitter, you probably saw the buzzer beater of the year. Double overtime, Gueren Catholic versus Bishop.
Brebuff.
For
Jesuit.
What I meant. Brebuff. Whoop.
All good.
Tell us about that play over
Oh
the
well.
head.
Okay, so I was paying attention to the game and was not there. We had a little birdie inside watching the game for Gueren Catholic fan, Mr. Stoner. So as I told you in the previous episode about the sectionals coming, I said you better watch out for those Buff boys. I gave a couple shout outs, and my guy Evan Hayward and Javon Brooks went off for 61 points together out of the team's 74. They ended up losing 75-74. Evan hit a 3 at the end of regulation from about the volleyball court line. If you don't know what that is, that's deep, well past the 3-point line, to send it to OT. And then in the first overtime, he hit another one from the same distance. Now they're in double overtime. And then many of you probably seen the footage, but if you didn't, there's an inbounds play from Gueren. They're down by 1. The ball, they lose the handle, and it's going basically out of the elbow extended and out the 3-point line, and the kid gets it, throws it over his head. It comes to Malcolm Howes, who's just wide open under the hoop, gathers the ball, turns, lays it in at the buzzer beater. And if you want to talk about rushing the court, there was more people on that court than I've seen any of these college editions. It was amazing.
Yeah. That was quite the absolute crazy court storm. It was amazing.
That was very warranted, though. I mean, to win a game like that.
Yes.
One thing I noticed in the clip is the kid that saves the ball, throwing it over his head, falls into the crowd, and I don't know that he got up in time to see his teammate make the shot. Like he was.
I don't think he did either.
It looks like he's still down, and then the crowd storms out. I never see him come back out. Like, I don't know, maybe his mom was there or his girlfriend, and he decided to just stay there with them.
He had to rush out there. There's a big dog pile underneath. People were underneath, couldn't breathe. It was quite the scene. I mean, what an ending to the game. But that's just the beginning of March Madness and Hoosier hysteria here in Indiana.
How about Fishers and Noblesville playing in front of like 4,500 people, sold out in a half hour?
Yeah, that sold out in a half hour, and they were rocking. Both sides of the fans were there. I know the Fishers moves on. I don't know if you can complain about a game like that, but stupendous.
Tough ending as Fishers scored. Noblesville inbounds the ball, went
coast to coast.
And as he got to just about midcourt, the referee was blowing his whistle, but it's very clear that the player from Noblesville was on the court signaling timeout.
Yeah, and
was a lot of people arguing that one.
As the whistle blows, he goes all the way to the hole and lays it in. But I'm sure there would have been a little bit more defense than that if the whistle didn't blow. And I seen people complaining why they called the timeout, but someone did signal it, so the ref called it.
Yep.
And then they got a good look afterwards. It just didn't go down.
Yep.
So hey, Fishers moves on. And here we go. We're looking at Southern Regional hosts. I know that Fishers is going to be playing Kokomo. That's at Newcastle. And those tickets go on sale tonight at midnight. Good luck.
Wow, they're going to be rocking that house. That Newcastle, that's one great arena there. Then we have George Washington playing Gueren Catholic. George Washington won their first sectional ever. So good luck to them in their regional.
Going to be a good one. New Palestine and Ben Davis. And then also at Southport is Franklin Community and Center Grove. So 4 really strong teams all in the same area, different regionals, but still going to be exciting time for that Southport regional.
And Bar Reeve moved on and will be playing Christian Academy of Indiana. Bar Reeve is the favorite to win 1A, which we talked about in our last podcast. Moving on to Northern, Clay did lose to St. Joe, so Clay's final basketball season does come to an end. They had a great ending to their season. They really went on a hot streak there, so we were rooting for you. But South Bend St. Joe will take on Glenn.
The South Bend St. Joe Huskies. Am I correct?
The Huskies. That is correct.
Yep.
Good call.
They were chanting "Let's go Huskies" for the first time ever this weekend.
Had to feel very different.
And there's that Kokomo Fishers matchup. I mean, you're going to have to look at that one. Pay attention to this. This is almost like a state championship game here in the regionals. 25-3 versus 25-1. Let's see, what other one am I looking at? I'm interested in the Fort Wayne Blackhawk Christian squad in 2A up against Lafayette Central Catholic. I think those Fort Wayne Blackhawk Christians going to pull this out, but they were strong through sectionals, got them another one, consecutive sectionals wins.
And the big boys up in the 4A playing in Michigan City, East Chicago Central's 22-4. They take on Mishawaka 19-7, and then
Go Cavemen.
Warsaw and Crown Point are the second game in that. They're separate regionals, so they crown more regional champions than they used to. So these are one-game regionals. The winners will advance to the semi-state. So
yeah, and for Warsaw, that's their 41st sectional championship. It's the first one since 2017, but Warsaw was always a beast. With 41 over time, they've been a solid squad. The Tigers out of Warsaw.
Looks like it'll be a really good matchup. Warsaw versus Crown Point. And then we have Peru, who actually just won their third straight sectional, taking on West Lafayette. And of course, Fort Wayne Northside versus Fort Wayne Wayne. Rivalries coming down. So these are going to be some great games, and we'll update you on those semi-states. So these regionals are going to start this coming weekend, March 8th and 9th. So good luck to all these fellas in their regionals. And now we're going to take you over to the women's Division III predictions and a little update on how they got here. For my Final Four, I am predicting NYU to take on Hope, Baldwin Wallace to take on Rhode Island. This is all happening March 14th and 16th down in Columbus, Ohio. And my prediction, Baldwin Wallace is going to take on NYU, led by none other than Maya Jones. She just scored a whopping 18 points in her game on Friday. And Baldwin Wallace is going to win it. Those Yellow Jackets are going to come sting the NYU.
Stinging them. All right. That's not a bad prediction there. Mine's slightly different, actually, almost completely. But I've got John Hopkins playing against Transylvania. Transylvania is the defending champion, so I think they're going to knock them off. Then Wisconsin, yeah.
Bill, John Hopkins knocked off Christopher Wallace.
Christopher Newport.
Christopher Newport. Michaela O'Neill hit 2 free throws with 21 seconds left, and then they shut down Christopher Newport, had 3 opportunities, and they held him off in the final 21 seconds to advance to the Elite 8.
Yeah, that's pretty solid because that Christopher Newport team made it to the finals last year. But this time, I don't know. I think it's going to be Rhode Island defeating Wisconsin Oshkosh. Rhode Island's undefeated still, 27-0 to start the tourney. They're coming in. I think they'll take on Transylvania, knock them off. Rhode Island College for the win.
All right. Rhode Island, that's a good option. I took NYU is going to run into Hope College, and then we have Bates will run into Smith. Smith has to get past Bowden, who has Sydney Jones. She went for a triple-double last weekend.
Messed around and got a triple double. Bowden about it.
Yeah, so Smith is going to have their hands full. And I like your prediction down there, Liz, of Bowden Wallace. They have 14 girls that play. So they
Wow.
really
Yeah,
rotate
get
in
that
there.
All the bigger
rotation
girls.
going. Keep them fresh. Keep those fresh legs.
But I took Bates versus Smith, and then we got NYU, who has 4 girls averaging double figures. Natalie Burns and Caroline Pepper, both balling.
NYU's also undefeated.
Yes, they are.
Yeah.
Yep. And so NYU is going to take on Bates in the championship game. And I took Bates to knock off and give NYU their first loss of the season in the national championship. The national championships are the 14th is the Final Four, and the 16th is the championships in Columbus, Ohio.
Nice.
Nice. We're gonna take you over to the
Have to stay up on that. Find your dad about D3 hoops right here.
Yep.
taking
The
you over to
games
the
this
men's
weekend are March 8th
D3,
and 9th.
which is happening right here in Fort Wayne, Indiana, on the same dates, March 14th and March 16th. So,
Will
this
you
was
make the trip to Fort Wayne?
I
That
hope
is
to,
up in
because
the
I'd
air.
like to see this barn.
I think
I'd
that
like to. I think it's still TBD for me as well. It's a little far out with my schedule, but it'd be nice to make it up there.
championship game on the 16th. I mean, that's a possibility. I'm sure it's in the evening. It's 2 hours away.
There you go.
You know,
It's not a
might
bad
be
trip.
might be something fun to go see. Say you've been to the D3 national championship.
I think definitely if our home team Trine makes it, we're gotta go. We're gonna
What's
go
a
if Trine
what's a
makes it.
harder ticket? Trying in the D3 championship at home, basically, or Fishers and Kokomo this weekend in Newcastle in 99,500 seats, maybe 10,000 seat arena.
I'm gonna say that Kokomo Fisher's ticket's gonna be harder to get,
I think it
but
might be.
I don't know that. Hey, just remember, and I'll just go ahead with my predictions after I roll this off. That Christopher Newport won with the buzzer beater last year. We talked about earlier, Trey Barber. I think Hampton Sydney is gonna face Christopher Newport. Newport's gonna come away with it, and then our hometown Trine's gonna go up against Trinity. Trine will get the win. They just beat Wash U, and let's see, they're gonna go down at home against Christopher Newport, a little back to back. Trey Barber might hit a final shot again.
I'm excited because we all have Trine going in the final game. I've got Trine going up against Tufts, beating Tufts. Christopher Newport, they're a tough team. That's a tough team. They're going up against Claremont, but Claremont bringing them down. It's going to be Trine versus Claremont, and Claremont is going to be that underdog who comes out and beats Trine at their home court advantage.
Well, I don't know about that. I think
March Madness, you never know.
You
I
never know.
think Trine's rolling in their Sweet Six or in their round of 32 game. They played 9 kids and 8 of them scored. So well rounded. They do take on Washington U in the Sweet 16. Washington U's Yogi Olif hit 2 free throws with 1 second left to win the game in overtime.
Yogi.
They're down 1 and Yogi hit them both. So
So,
that's Trine's next matchup.
and that was the knockout Illinois College, correct? And in the
Yeah.
previous round, Illinois College played Dubuque, and they beat them 59-57 with the buzzer beater. And then in the next round, when they lost to Washington, it was 68-67. So Wash U knocked out Illinois College, but man, that's 2 close end of the game buzzer beaters. That's
Yep,
what it's
you're
all
into
about.
it's the tournament. Gonna see some good ones. So I got Hampton Sydney. Hampton Sydney's gonna play Christopher Newport, and I have Hampton Sydney knocking off the defending champs. Randolph Mason's gonna run into Trine. That's gonna be just a wonderful matchup. As the Thunder, right? Trine Thunder.
Yeah,
Thunderous.
bring in the Thunder.
They're going to advance the championship game, and I think they're going to rock the house at the Allen County War Memorial Stadium. And the Trine Thunder, it's going to be your 2024 Division III men's basketball champion.
Let's go Trine.
I'm excited, and I think it's going to be worth trying to get down there, especially if our predictions come true. We're going to have to be there. We've got no choice. So I think, if I'm correct, the hockey teams wrapped it up. They settled it on the ice this weekend. How did that turn out?
Yeah, so the Indiana High School Hockey Tournament did settle this weekend on the ice. And hey, while we're talking D3 sports, they just put out the Division III women's ice hockey tournament brackets.
Wow.
And the team to beat there's University of Wisconsin River Falls. They're 28-0.
Had to be somebody from up in Wisconsin.
Had to be up north. Yeah.
So they're the number 1 seed. They got a bye. So that's coming up. That starts March 6th. And then quarterfinals are the 9th. Semifinals are the 15th. And the championship is the 17th. So just saw that just get posted. So I thought I'd give you a little information on that. In the high school state championships, like we talked last time, the finals were the seeding was very well set by Indiana High School Hockey Athletic Association because it was 1 versus 2 in the 1A. And that game went double overtime at the Icebox here in South Bend. And Homestead, the number 1 seed, knocked off Westfield 2-1 in double overtime.
Man, double OT to start off the state finals. You can't beat that.
Yep. And good thing they spaced these games out a little bit because the 2A was also 1 versus 2, and the number 1 seed Fort Wayne Vipers beat Columbus 4-3, also in double overtime.
Wow. Man.
Back to back. Hey, I got a question, and hopefully you can answer this for us. But like Fort Wayne Vipers, what kind of area are we talking about that kids can play on a team like that?
So it's the Fort Wayne surrounding area, basically. There's Fort Wayne Carroll, Fort Wayne Vipers, Leo's from over there. Actually, Leo was in the 3A state championship. They were the number 1 seed, and they beat Lakeshore St. Joseph 3-2 in overtime. So
Leo went coast to coast, right?
Yeah.
Wow.
So they were the number 1 seed. Their goalie was incredible. So big win by Leo. But yeah, so basically the way high school is, your teams are made up of a host school, and then they have an area draft. So for example, the Michigan High School Hockey League has 6 teams, and if you go to one of those 6 schools, you're placed on that team, and then they take the rest of the guys and they are drafted accordingly to the various teams, depending on how many you need. Tells you how many draft picks you get. Once you're on the team, you stay on the team. So
I guess the focus of my question is, like you talked about South Bend, there's 6 teams, 6 schools. Is that the same for the Evansville team? Is it 6 to choose from, or is it like a?
No, so each league is different. So Fort Wayne has a couple teams.
What I'm kind of concerned about here with South Bend is let's not have the same demise that we have with so many high schools, and then we're spread out with our talent, and then all of a sudden, then they start closing.
Right, and then they start closing, and then they become, less opportunities for each kid that goes there. There's only 6 teams right now in the Michiana High School Hockey League, but if it goes down to 5 or 4, now you're going to, you're basically taking 18, 20 kids that are not going to have the same opportunities to be on a line. So,
yeah, right. Let's get them that opportunities.
Yep. So then lastly was the 4A state championship, and no, Carmel A did not win for the first time in 7 years. This year it came to Zionsville 1-0 over Evansville in the 4A state championship.
Evansville, they had to go that insane bus trip all the way up. 2 weekends in a row. Man.
That's all right. They were home for wrestling.
You're right. They did the opposite.
One other note in hockey, Evansville actually will be getting on another bus as well as Culver A, and they're both playing high school hockey national championships being held up in Pittsburgh, I believe. So
Oh,
Evansville
cool.
and Carmelet are the representatives of Indiana. So
And
we'll
that's
update
awesome.
you when that comes out and do
Oh, that's
something fun to
sweet.
watch.
Do they get to play? Do you know where they get to play?
The rinks all over. I'm sure the
Oh,
actual
okay.
national championship will be somewhere pretty cool, but um, I know years ago we held like a 14U national championship here in South Bend, played at the Compton Family Ice Arena for the University of Notre Dame. It was really neat experience, but
Yeah, that's cool.
they
That's a,
the entire they'll have a huge tournament, so they'll be playing pool play games into a seeding round. So you'll see there'll be a lot of hockey. We'll update you that when it gets there.
Awesome. Looking forward to that.
Yeah.
well, Jebber, why don't we go on to the rule of the
All right. So today, get your rule books out. We
Oh,
got rule books.
gotta get
We
my
got
rule
page
book.
books. Right.
I got it.
We're talking alternate possession in basketball. So when you have a jump ball situation, there's an arrow that is held at the scores table or on the scoreboard. It alternates between teams. So the opening tip, whoever wins the opening tip, the other team gets the arrow pointed in their direction for the next jump ball situation. So I was talking, what happens, what kind of situations can occur where the possession arrow doesn't change after a jump ball? So if you go to Rule 6.5 and Article 6, the opportunity to make an alternate possession throw-in is lost if the throw-in team violates. So if say Notre Dame has the ball and they're going to inbounds it and they've won the alternate possession and the inbounds guy steps onto the court.
Mm-hmm.
They
Steps over the
violated.
line. Yep.
They lost possession. So now the arrow will flip to the other team. All right. But if either team fouls during alternate possession throw in, it does not cause the throw in team to lose the possession arrow. If the defensive team commits a violation during the throw in, the possession arrow is not switched. All right.
So you're saying so Notre Dame was about to throw it in, and Syracuse fouls a guy,
So now
but Notre Dame
gonna
still
get two
has the
free
ball to
throws,
throw it in again, or they go to the free throw line. It just
and the
doesn't
possession
switch.
arrow stays to Notre Dame.
Okay.
Okay.
So
So,
Yeah. Don't be violating
so
during
don't
during
foul when they're
alternate possession.
throwing the ball.
yep.
Interesting.
One other unique thing we talked about in the same scenario would be if the player inbouncing the ball holds it over the line and the
Yeah.
defense grabs
Touch.
it and forces another jump ball. That would be considered
Isn't that a
endless.
Hold on. Isn't that a technical for touching the ball while he's in possession?
No, because he reached the ball onto the court. You just can't reach past the line.
Oh.
So he reached out. You can grab it and cause a jump ball. And so now Notre Dame, for example, loses the possession arrow because now it's another jump ball. It would go to the other team.
Wow.
So
That's deep in the rule book there. What was that rule number?
656.
Man, if someone pulls that rule out, you're gonna have some
Well,
problems on the
I was
sidelines.
working the score table for some junior high basketball this weekend, and the possession arrow, girls junior high basketball, the possession arrow is very, very well used. I mean, it can wear out if you have
Right. A lot
light
of
bulb on
tie
the
ups.
scoreboard. Yeah, lots of
A lot of
tie-ups.
tie ups going on. All right, very, very nice. I had a question for you. It's unrelated, but well, I guess it's more of a feelings. What do you think about people calling a timeout that don't have the ball, or the coach calling the timeout? I believe this has been changed.
In basketball specifically?
Let's talk basketball, but I'm thinking of it through all sports as well, but in basketball.
Okay.
Let's start with that.
So my team has the ball.
Yep.
The person with the ball can call timeout.
Uh,
The coach can call timeout,
mm-hmm.
and then another player can call timeout.
Okay. And you
On
think
the court.
that's all completely okay?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
And what about when you see a NFL ref sprinting or NFL coach sprinting 40 yards down there to go timeout when the quarterback knows darn well that they're about to, the play clock's at 1? You're just okay with that because it's the rule, or you're looking through ref lens, or do you have a
Well,
fan view of this?
yeah, the head coach can call timeout. The only reason he's running down the sidelines is because he's acting like they're not going to notice him. The refs know that he might be calling a timeout. That's their job. There's refs that are watching for timeouts at all times. So he's just, running down the sidelines because he's frantic.
All right, let me address this to Liz. Say I've got the ball and Jeb's on my team. I'm dribbling the ball and I'm going for a layup. I'm 4 steps away from getting, like, no one's there. I'm going to make it, and Jeb just calls timeout. Like, what is he doing?
He's on your team, though? Why would he do that if he's on your team?
Because there's 2 seconds left, and the coach is like, "Hey, man, call timeout," and because we want to get a good shot, whatever the scenario is.
I'm calling timeout so you can inbounds the ball, and I'm the hero, not you.
Well, I mean, if the coach told him to do it, you got to do what the coach says. However, I will say this. I don't like the idea of the other team being able to call timeout when you're running up and about to do a layup. That seems a little off.
You got
it. Okay, they cannot do that. Okay, it's like, that seems a little off. I mean, I think
in football, the coach running down the sidelines defensively to call a timeout, that's another story.
Well, this could go on for days.
Is a big
I believe they changed that. This may date me, like they could have changed it 20 years ago, but it used to be you have to have the ball, and you would see people go like this, timeout. Like, if you don't have the ball, what are you doing calling timeout, dude? Get open, get the ball, and then call timeout. I don't know.
Interesting. I mean, I guess my only opinion is if the coach tells you to call timeout, you're going to do it. So it's the coach. It's up to the coach.
Those coaches shouldn't be calling timeout. That's all I'm going to say. Liz, let's go over to you for Beyond the Bench and your recruiting tip of the week.
Okay, I'm coming at you with an old school tip this week.
Ooh.
Now, I've been telling you, and I hope you all are listening. I hope you have your X account. I hope you've been sending messages to the coaches. But what I'm going to tell you to do today is to send a letter to a coach. We're taking it old school. Because, I actually got this tip off of X, off of Twitter. And they said, a coach said, I get about 50 emails or DMs a day. If you want to really stand out and get my attention, send me a letter. It used to be we would get 20 letters a day or 20 letters a week. Now we don't get any letters. They don't get letters anymore.
Must be an old cat like me.
Few and far between. So my tip of the day is, if you want to stand out, go that extra mile. Get yourself a card. Get yourself a little, maybe you get some stationery with your name on it.
Handwritten
to the coach, and write a letter to the coach. And again, explain to him, tell him that you're going to also DM him your film, because of course this is the easiest way to send that, or easiest way to email your film, but then he's on the lookout for it. So today we're going old school. We're going pen, paper, and stamp.
Liz, are you reminding me that I need to send some thank you letters to my mom?
I am sure that I've got a backlog that I need to send.
Man, I got thank you letters for birthdays I got to send out. But let me tell you what, just so you youngsters know, the post office is closed on a Sunday. I had stepdaughter told us a story about getting a Uber, the 3 of them, to the post office on a Sunday, and then they realized it was closed.
That is
got to know that post office is closed on a Sunday.
Post office is closed on a Sunday. And on a Saturday, I'm pretty sure they close at like 2 p.m. I would definitely look up the hours before you Uber over there. could be a holiday, and then they'd be closed then too. So that is my easy, simple tip of the day.
Banker's hours.
Classy.
Yes, make sure you've got some good handwriting. Don't, take a little extra time for no chicken scratch so he can understand what you're saying. If you've got really bad handwriting, you can type it out, but you can still then pop it in the mail. Krupert, what do you got for us for the walk-on? Workout. Walk-on Warrior wow workout.
Wow. All right, the walk-on Warriors segment today. We referenced what I'm going to talk about a little bit earlier, going down to that combine at Lucas Oil. We've been giving you some challenges. I believe I told you should stretch. You should know your limitations. We talked about running stairs. I'm not going to go through all the things, but what we did is we went down and we were ready to run a 40. Now we're in line. We're stretching. I've got on sweatpants. I've got on shoes. Now the shoes I have on are Skechers. They didn't have laces. It's just like there's no end to them. So I had to pull them tight and do one knot. Okay. So I wasn't fully prepared with my gear. So check your gear. The other thing is make sure you're fully stretched and a little bit warmed up before you head out there. But we've talked about this before, is know the differences between an injury, a little pain, and a little gripe that you might have. But a little self-care at home with some of this icy hot China gel, boy, slapped out on a hamstring after you tweak it a little bit. You got to know how to take care of yourself. So that's helped me out a little bit. Maybe find a hot tub, find some hot water to soak in. If you get deep into some bruises and whatnot, little ice plunge. We talked about that in the very first episode as a challenge, but ice plunge to help you out, soak the body. And our next episode, we're going to get, at least I'm going to be seeking a tip from one of our guests. So be sure to tune into that. He's got some expert knowledge you might want to tune into. And stay hydrated, stretch. But let's talk about the 40, okay? In my fastest time ever, it was a 4.76. That was a long time ago.
All right, that's legit.
That was legit. I've seen some people that are going to be in the NFL, and they were not running sub 4.76.
All right.
There were some running backs today not running.
There was so sometimes are much higher than that amount. My time was a 5.78, which is a full second. But if I haven't ran a 40 in 25 years and I go out there not fully stretched and run within 1 second of my all-time high, I'm pretty happy with that. Okay.
I'd say 1 second.
Yeah.
But
plus you haven't practiced the start.
But now I'm gonna steer away from the workout portion of this and get into just a little questioning motivation for you. So put yourself in the seat of a GM for the NFL team. You've all got different needs. You've all got different positions that you need to fill. Okay? Now take yourself back to the late 80s when you're playing Nintendo and you're playing hockey on the ice hockey on NES, and you had to choose a skinny guy, a regular guy, or a fat guy. And that, I believe, was their label. The fat guy could take a slap shot and drill it home. The skinny dude was super fast. And the regular guy is just regular, right? You could do things average. You have to find the right person, right? So I recall being 5'9", 215, and every single person that I ever knew, oh, you're too small. You're too small. There was a guy running the 40 the other day who was 5'7", 168 pounds, and he ran about a 4.38. Now, I think he was a wide receiver. In my day, he would have been too small. He might not have been allowed on the field. Like, that is too small. It would have been a skinny guy. So who are you guys looking for? What are you thinking? Thinking top end speed? Is that the most important thing? There you are. You're the owner of the Colts or whoever.
I'm looking for the guy that can throw up some weights, I'm looking for the guy that's intelligent. When we interview him, he's able to tell me what he wants as a player and what he's looking for in the future. And I'm looking for an athlete that has, good skill, good speed. But I mean, I think the person is pretty important at the NFL level. You can't really be a one-hit wonder in the NFL. There are one-hit wonders, but those guys that make the one shining moment, they're the ones that have earned the hard work behind the scenes. It's not something given to those guys. So I think that interview process is probably one of the highest evaluated.
They're checking out your mental acuity, how you handle things.
Yeah. 4.2 versus
important.
a 4.24 on the 40, a 4.3, I mean, that's good, but you need to.
That's real good, but yeah.
Yeah, really good, but,
Well, I think,
what about you?
Jeb, you hit on the nail on the head with the intelligence, because you're learning our playbook, you're learning what our culture is. So that interview process is definitely going to be extremely important. The Xavier Worthy, he ran his very first 40. He ran a 4.25 already. Insanely impressive. He didn't have to do any better than that. He went back up. He actually had a false start. He kind of jumbled his start on his second one. And but he had to go back up, kind of like recompose himself. He was able to do that, and then he crushed it and killed the record. And to me, that says something as well, because he could have like stumbled and felt bad about himself or whatnot for messing up in front of all these people, but instead he went out and crushed it. And so having that ability to just regain your composure, and being calm under pressure is obviously a really big deal.
Yeah, I think I'd love to see where Worthy goes after running that and after him bouncing back. But, for me, it obviously depends on the position. And if all things are even, then yes, speed is going to play a factor. Speed kills. Everybody's going to the speed. But I would challenge all these NFL teams and college teams is don't go with just all speed guys. Michigan's going to line up with some big dudes and they're going to run the ball. Remember running the ball? They're going to run right up the middle and they're going to win, just like the Detroit Lions did. They're like, how about we play football instead of playing flag football on a professional field, and we'll see how that works.
Well, I mean, obviously, when you're asking me, it's going to obviously come down. Hopefully, you've got a good mixture. You need to have that speedy guy, and you need to have that guy that can tear through the middle, and you can't tackle him because he's so big and tough and strong, and
Get yourself some China Shell. Get yourself some icy.
All right, so here's the trivia question this week. What is Hope College's nickname?
The Hope Angels.
No.
Stallions.
The Hope Anchors, and they have a little anchor logo. Huh. I'll give you another one. How about Baldwin Wallace? They're black and yellow.
I just said it. They're going to sting you, the Yellow Jackets.
Yellow Jackets.
Nice.
Killer bees on the swarm.
Bees.
What do you think their nickname is?
Well, let's see. Transylvania. I would have to guess something to do with a vampire or a bat, but I understand they're juggling the idea of switching up their mascot.
But yes, they are the Pioneers, but they have a bat logo. So they're the Pioneer Bats. I don't know.
Pioneer Bats. Transylvania Bats. Transy Bats.
The Radars.
So maybe if we go, is Transylvania in the men's or the women's?
The women's.
Oh, darn it. We're not going to be at their Final Four championship. But we'll keep an eye out. Maybe it'll be on TV. Keep an eye out for you.
Okay. Well, you heard it here first. We called who's going to win the D3 championships. We'll see who's correct. We're looking forward to some more basketball action in Indiana.
Bevo Francis just scored again.
Bring on the Hoosier hysteria and the March Madness. Keep dominating.
Don't talk about it. Be about it.
Hi, everyone. We just want to say thank you for listening to Settled on the Field. Make sure that you are subscribing, liking, and sharing with all your friends. Thanks for listening.